Hello everybody, how's it going today? It's Frankie and I'm back with another movie review. And I decided to watch a movie not just because it's usually that time I watch the movie, but because I'm possibly going to go live on TikToks after probably after I upload this video. And this movie is called The Unwilling. And finally, a good movie for a change. It's actually not just decent, it's actually better than decent. Not highly rated, but I rate it a bit highly. I just love the overall storyline to it and, well, possibly the mystery behind it as well. And I had to watch something. Perfect duration, an hour and 20 minutes. It finishes a few minutes before that because the credits of that, but it actually is a good movie. They could have been adding more to it. This is pretty easy to explain, but I'm just going to whiz through it because there's not a lot to talk about, but the movie is certainly interesting. It starts off good with a nurse being at the hospital and she looks after this dad who gets a box delivered to him. And this guy comes, you don't actually know much about this person that comes and brings the box. And this box is meant to be people's desires, basically, what they want. And you start to know when you watch the movie, what actually is happening. And yeah, so I'm going to give the movie away, obviously, like I do in all my videos, I do talk about it. And you see, I'll continue with the story. And this nurse touches the box, and all of a sudden she feels kind of lustful. All of a sudden, her demeanor starts changing, how she behaves starts changing. She looks in the mirror and she starts changing. That she starts acting different, and she realizes it. And she turns around and she sees her demonic self holding the patient's hand, basically, after touching the box, and she dies. You just see her go to the floor, and then it also cuts to a guy called David, who's the son, and he starts experiencing some strange noises around the house. And bear in mind, he's got OCD, which also, to be fair, is kind of perfect for a movie like this. I would explain later on. And he invites family over. He invites Michelle, Darren, who's a drug addict. I'll mention as to why I said that. And then you got Kelly, you got Rich, and then you got oh man, Cheryl, that's it, Cheryl. I think that's the amount of people that came over there. I'll probably add somebody else into it if I forget. But yeah, just let me know what name I missed out or not. And they all go to, they get invited to his house and they all start talking and, and they get in a mysterious box arrives. So it's this black box that comes in. And yeah, so they open it. They would not necessarily open it, but they sort of would say tamper, they sort of, I wouldn't say touch it necessarily, but look at it because they're all confused. And the box just sort of has spikes to it. And they also have to prick their fingers because there's 6 of them and there's 6 spikes basically. And they prick their fingers and some sort of gold just opens up. And bear that in mind, this movie is sort of this movie can be a bit confusing when know what's going on and what the ending is going to be. So yeah, so Rich picks up this, bar of gold and he says it's all this money's worth. I assume because he's some sort of rich guy, not because his name's Rich, but because he's sort of a guy that's heavily invested in money. I guess he got given the gold bar. I guess that's what the box gave him first. And I think, I'm not sure, I think he might have touched the box first. I couldn't tell. And then he's sort of the gold kind of burns his hands. And so then he has to go ahead and, as soon as he was about to walk out the door to the hospital, after Cheryl advised him to, he sort of changes his demeanor and gets all demonic and says, nope, we're not going anywhere. And then sort of David kind of notices this, and then Rich sort of behaves kind of in a funny fashion towards other people as well, and he starts to go after Michelle, who's his ex. So I assume that's what he desires. I think demons are smart. I mean, don't get me, these spirits are clever what the person wants, especially demons. They just feed off what desires and stuff like that. So I guess he probably had the desire for Michelle again. I think that's what the demon wanted as well, is that the box also knew what he desired. So in a sense, it was clear in that storyline. But yeah, in a sense, I think he got kind of bored of Cheryl as well. That's probably what it also means. And then he kind of forces Michelle, he kind of forced himself onto Michelle in the bathroom. He also had a run-in with the Darren dude because this Darren's got is craving some sort of drugs or something. And he sort of slaps down a little bit, saying, no, you got a quick, easy fix. How about we go into, my car, you can give me a quick fix, eh? You can give me a quick release. And Darren's just not sure, and Darren sort of takes the box as well. And into the scene, he keeps driving because he wants to leave out the whole that house basically. As soon as he leaves, he keeps coming back. I think the box has trapped them into that world now, and they can't seem to get out. Not gonna lie, if I was in that position, I would have gone crazy too. I've seen movies like that where they're just stuck in like a loop. And that's what's similar. This is how similar it is. It kind of reminds me of like that movie I've seen called Brightwood, where they kind of like in a loop. So this is kind of similar to that scene where he's just driving, he's in a loop. And he did touch the box. There's a scene, I think pretty sure he did touch the box because he did take it back in the house. And then you see him just getting some like, like drugs or something. That was it, cocaine or whatever it is. It's a box gave him. So I guess that's what he desired. So that was kind of clear in that one. He did desire, drugs. It's kind of obvious what his one was going to be. And then he started acting all funny as well, and like all evil, demonic as well. And then you also see how, Rich forced himself onto Michelle in the bathroom, and Michelle just kind of stabs in the neck. He did call her a snowflake, so I assume like that's like the demon kind of like pretending to be like. It's weird. I don't think the demon was pretending to be the dad, because the dad would call somebody snowflake in the family. So yeah, it's kind of strange that one, and you see that Rich dying. And yeah, and you also see that the lights go out as well, and Darren just sort of like tries to like, he also plans to he also like tried to kill Cheryl, and I think Michelle hit like took him out basically. Yeah, this movie is kind of a bit mad. I'm explaining as best as I can, and after a while they just sort of, the whole house outside just seems to be covered in like this black like rock, which makes, I've assumed the house is looking like the box right now. They also experienced some sort of black mass that came to them whilst Michelle and Cheryl was outside, and they had to come in quickly. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm not explaining this in order. I'm doing the best I can to explain the best bits. And also and just how you can tell they were trapped in this whole like in the box situation, where I think, who was it Michelle whatever, that tried to stab the box, and every time she tried to stab the box with a knife, it made a cutting through the entrances where the box was at. Interesting. I got to say on that one, pretty clever. But then she kept looking in the mirror in that small, the box was, and her face just looked all demonic, like she changed from a demon. Which probably, I don't know what she desired. Did she desire to look better? Is that what it was? Never knew what that one was for her. And bear in mind too, you also see David and this Cheryl chick have a connection. You have a bit of a moment. That's going to be important towards the end of the movie. And then you see Michelle get trapped in the mirror. She sort of screams out for help, and you see her just trying to get out the mirror. And she can see, David, Cheryl, and oh man, Cheryl. I forgot who the other person was. Kelly, that's it, Kelly. I don't know if I got her name before earlier on, but yeah, we sort of stuck with those two. And I think this is the same place that there was after the gold bar burnt, and it created that sort of like black whatever it was around the mirror, which is probably that some sort of like portal or something like that to look like. The gold was still burning by that man, which I was surprised about. I thought it would stop burning after like burning the dude's hands. I mean, the dude's hands actually got better, which is strange. So yeah, that's the thing about demons. They can change all sorts about somebody straight away like that. So because it's in their world too, bear that in mind. They're going to mess around with our reality too. And you could just see Cheryl because she was banging the mirror so hard to try and get out that she broke the mirror. So she's trapped essentially in that side of the world basically. And David looked all distraught, which I understand. Completely. I would be scared in that position. And then they come across, they see some light as well, right? They offer them to see a bit of light. They think it's light from outside, but it's actually light in some sort of like study. In some sort of way they see like a man and woman just dead, basically. It's weird. Then we never get to see what was going on there. We never actually don't know who those people are. And then they see that come across this door again. I think David and Cheryl come across this door that opens. The door that opens, and they come across this black rock again. And then you see like Kelly just looking at the box and says, "What have you done, Michelle? Take me to Michelle, please." And then you see like Michelle's hand just come out. You know damn well that was a demon. Like it was too obvious. Like Michelle's trapped there. So it's obviously a demon mimicking her. And yeah, Kelly did touch the box. If she didn't touch the box, she wouldn't be in this sort of situation. And then she just tells David and Cheryl, who, this is what I don't get in horror movies, yeah? This is what I don't get in horror movies. When the main, character that you see as Jack, it's always the main characters that look around or observant at the real, smart ones that know what's going on. And even he was asking, "Are you okay, Kelly? Kelly, you okay?" You know she's not okay. You keep asking her. You know damn well she touched the box because her demeanor started changing. It's pretty obvious. This is why I don't get about the main characters. They know it, but they still are ignorant to it. And then they start following where Kelly was going. And again, you could tell someone isn't normal because they keep walking like this, like they're like some sort of robot. That sort of demons just taking over them. And she sort of takes them upstairs, and she opens up some sort of like, I don't know what type of door you call it. And then they sort of get dragged into this sort of like, I don't know what it is. It's some sort of like another like portal. I don't know what, I can't tell what it is. I have no idea what you call it. And then Dave sort of comes across like this area as well. It sort of looks like a basement place. And she hears like, I think, who is it? Michelle asking for, is it Kelly? Someone's asking for help. And he comes across his dad. And his dad starts telling him, "Son, I know that wasn't me. I'm sorry for what happened." All this stuff. And that kind of bit of dialogue there, and I think it was the demon like controlling his dad's actions before his dad actually died, which is what was explained before, because his mum also died from it too when his dad brought back the box. And yeah, and then his dad sort of just disappears. He then sort of goes back out, and he then sees like I think Cheryl in the distance just getting dragged again. I thought she was already dragged somewhere else, so that was a bit confusing to me. I thought the entire movie was gonna be about him going mad. I thought there's gonna be more of like a better ending to this. But yeah, I'll tell you the ending soon. And then he sort of like stops, who is that? Kelly from doing what she's doing. And then sort of like then she's trying to like strangle her to death, and then you see Cheryl just come with a knife and start stabbing her, which I assume she's dead. And then it comes across towards the ending now. This is the end part, not fully there, but this is part of the end right here. And then because there's some extra bits after this scene. And then Dave was saying, "Where did you get the knife from?" And Cheryl said, I'm sorry, I had to do it. She tried to come up with this, I had to do it. The box gives you what it wants, doesn't it? And you start realising, it's typical. I should have seen this coming from a movie like this. Of course, the box gives you what it wants. And then you see Cheryl that says, "Oh, the box gives you what you want, doesn't it?" Cheryl's character actually wanted David the entire time. I should have seen that coming. They had a bit of a moment together, and you can see there's a connection there. Of course, it had to be those that was left last. And then you see Cheryl just started becoming more demonic, because he said, "Oh, be the strong man like you are. Be like your father." Yeah. And then you think, are they gonna kiss or something like that? No, not necessarily. He has a knife behind him, and you think he's gonna stab her. He doesn't. Bear in mind, he has OCD too, so yeah, I can imagine be a bit wary doing this. Not that I'm saying OCD people would. I'm saying in general, I didn't think I didn't aim to kill her. Although, I thought that could have been the end of this sort of movie right there. He actually killed himself. So he slit his throat. And then Cheryl just dropped to the floor as well. I mean, there was a stab wound on her, so I don't know who stabbed who. I think she got stabbed first. And then you see the demon just come out of, I think, Cheryl, obviously. And this is where the story got a bit confusing, because we actually know the box just causes people desires, but what was David's desire? I thought it was going to end. I know, listen, I'm the sort of person to read about a movie and then watch it and ask a question that's already been answered for me. Like, oh, what's going on with the characters? Why are they doing this? until I start realizing the movie relates to something that they're doing. So I should have known, man. The boxes put people's desires, and I'm just sitting here watching the movie, going, oh, so why are the characters behaving like they really want the person? Oh, it's their desires. I know some of you probably do that. Some of you probably have a habit of doing that. But yeah, I suppose there's not much of a story to tell, because usually it's just about a box that just, feeds up people's desires. But it's hard to explain. You know where I'm coming from. Yeah, but I thought David would touch the box too. Excuse me, spell there. I thought he touched it. I thought it was going to end with him just trying to touch the box, and him, revealing what his desires are. I guess we'll never know that. Maybe it was in the movie to begin with, I just didn't notice. And then something else happens, like after that scene. You see the dad just pick up the black box in like a field, and he walks away with it, and that's it. I didn't understand why they need to do that, and the music choice at the end there was a bit disappointing. I've got to say though, with David having OCD, this is actually a bit of like what I've noticed they've done. He has OCD, and the things people have OCD want everything to be perfect, clean and tidy and neat. But it's ironic that in that sort of movie, the character with OCD has his life just, not just everybody else's life, but his life too, just tumbling. Like the house gets destroyed by some sort of demonic box. The whole situation became imperfect for him. I find that kind of ironic. You know what I mean? I'm just trying my best to explain that. And again, it's a good movie. I would have probably assumed the acting in some parts could have been a bit better. Some of it was a bit cliche. I'm not going to rate this. It's not the most perfect movie I've seen, but it's a good movie. I like the overall theme of it in a box that feeds off people's feeds off people's desires or what they want. It's pretty obvious, but it actually kind of worked. Again, needed more. There was bits that could have scared me but didn't. There's also scenes where there was like spirits just flying around, but they wouldn't have mentioned that bit. Wasn't much happened in that scene when he went out the closet, and because it was storage or whatever, and he sees like spirits or something. But yeah, assuming it was haunted, but I'm quite surprised he did die. I didn't expect him to die. I kind of expect him to kind of be like, there's a real reason why people are going through this. Maybe he touched the box and he's sort of hallucinating, imagining all of this, or maybe there's something wrong with him. Maybe it's like the grief playing about with him. I thought it was going to be a different sort of ending to that. So it was a bit disappointing to have him just slit his throat like that. There was no reason for him to do that. Unless he was actually the cause, but then he owns the box. So it was a bit confusing why the storyline had him do that. I didn't quite understand that. But yeah, not really much else to tell with this movie. It's easily explained, I guess. They wouldn't go through it too much. I think I went through it enough actually. Rating. Wow. This is a simple one. I'm giving it an 8. I think it's a solid 8. I don't think I could give it any higher. I don't think I could give it any lower. I suppose it would be higher if they had a better, different kind of ending. And possibly a bit more jump scares. That movie could have had jump scares. I think that would have been perfect for it. But yeah, if I missed anything, I do apologise. You can watch it for yourself and you can let me know your theory on it. But yeah, I think every character there had their own like sort of desire, basically, that was there. You had Sherwood that wanted desire to be with like David, and you had Michelle's desire. I don't know what Michelle's desire was. Was it to be perfect? Looks wise, because not really much else that was there. That's what I gathered from the movie anyway. You had Darren, obviously Darren's fix was like the drugs. That was pretty obvious. You had the rich dude that desires was probably more money, but he got it from a gold bar, so yeah, the worth and value, so I guess that's very obvious. We just didn't know what David's desire was though. That's what I wanted to know. What was his desire? Was it to bring everybody together? Because showing the box ruined that. I think the demon wanted his desire to be ruined the most. But yeah, I don't ramble on too much about it. So 8 out of 10 it is. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification below. So see you in my next video.